On November 3rd, 2018, Riot Games dropped a music video for League of Legends. This wasn't an uncommon phenomenon, as League of Legends has always been known for its cinematics and music, not much for its gameplay. But this music video was kind of different. Yep, League of Legends K-pop. And it was a runaway success. Obviously, selling pretty girls to a group of perpetually lonely dudes will get you a lot of money, as anybody who's taken a gander into the idol industry can tell you. People have made some really good stories about that, and also some bad ones. Regardless, KDA was massively successful, and like all successful things, Riot did nothing with it for 2 years. But 2 years later, and we get the return of KDA. And this time, now that Riot Games is actually living up to the plurality in their name, they're bringing KDA to all of their games, and not just League of Legends as a skin line. In Legends of Runeterra, what we got were these 5 cards. And let's just say the reveal was somewhat contentious. One of the key aspects of League of Legends that none of the actual League of Legends players will ever mention is the amount of lore that the franchise has. Every champion, well, almost, in League of Legends has a backstory that ties them to the fictional world of Runeterra, the world that the game Legends of Runeterra is named after. And Legends of Runeterra just so happens to be one of the main gateways into the world of Runeterra, with the card art and flavor text revealing individuals, items, and places that were all in Runeterra, enhancing the world, League champions, and the stories we have gotten. As such, 5 cards whose art and text didn't make any sense in the context of the world of Runeterra rubbed quite a lot of people the wrong way. Keep in mind that this was back in 2020 when everyone was naive enough to believe Riot actually cared about the lore of Runeterra. We hadn't been burned by things like Sentinels of Light, Cytherea the Time Traveler, and Undead Tifalengi. At the end of the day though, Legends of Runeterra is a game and gameplay will take precedence, so eventually this debate kinda died down. As for the cards themselves, each one would more or less find a deck to slot into. The first card to be cracked was Feel the Rush. There was already a similar card called War Mother's Call, which had a less impressive effect, a higher deck building cost, and a massive mana cost. Feel the Rush eliminated 2 of those 3 problems and so immediately found a home. The next card, Give It All, found a home in Heimer Vi decks as a finisher, but given that Heimer Vi decks were pretty middle of the pack, it didn't have too much of a big impact. Go Get It was mostly used as either a defensive spell, being essentially a better version of Shadow Shift, or as a way to abuse summoning effects, but it never saw too much play. Out of the Way was a favorite among many players since the innocuous ability to turn temporary buffs into permanent ones was very enticing, but it never saw play outside of meme decks. As for the last card, well, Go Hard initially seemed like a fairly basic card. However, this one innocuous card would quickly become a nightmare for the player base. Go Hard is a 1 mana spell that deals 1 damage to an enemy unit and heals you for 1 health. This would already be a solid removal card, but it had the additional effect of shuffling more copies of itself into your deck, and if you cast 3 of them, the 4th one would transform into Pack Your Bags, which was basically a 1 mana board wipe. That's a stupid powerful effect for a 1 cost card, but the amount of work needed to get that effect meant in theory, you wouldn't see Pack Your Bags all too often, and so couldn't rely on it as your win condition. Of course, theory never works in practice, and in practice, Go Hard decks became the top deck that plagued the latter. So what was a Go Hard deck like? Well, Go Hard was in Shadow Isles, which lent it all the best control tools in the game at the time. Keep in mind Shurima and Bandle City had been added yet. As such, the deck had a lot of ways to keep the player from not dying and dragging out games, allowing the player to keep drawing cards and eventually finding all their Go Hards. As for the second region, you needed one that could cycle through your deck very quickly, so you could find all those Go Hards, and at the time, the region people used for that was Bilgewater. Bilgewater was the best region, not only for card draw, but also for the ability to tutor Pack Your Bags via Zap Spray Fin. Your strategy was to use Go Hard to chip away the enemy while also developing your board, and then to use Pack Your Bags to clear the enemy board before opening an attack, ensuring victory. Needless to say, people did not like this deck. Given the sheer power of Pack Your Bags, the amount of work needed to actually get it ended up being quite low, and many players were easily able to play multiple copies of Pack Your Bags in a single game. This transitioned Pack Your Bags from being a well-earned reward for playing multiple Go Hards to an annoyance, as Pack Your Bags was almost guaranteed once you found your first Go Hard. In the end, the devs pushed out what is probably the heaviest nerf in the entirety of Legends of Runeterra, increasing the cost of Pack Your Bags from 1 mana to 5 mana. Kind of insane given that most nerfs only change a numerical value by 1 or 2 points, not 4. The deck would resurface again with the release of Senna, but by then there had been so much power creep that the deck never reached its original heights. Maybe that's for the best though, I don't know. So, thanks for watching, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for future videos, and I'll see you next time.